Ready and Steady by DA. During the early years of the Lost Media community, one of the most sought after songs was Ready and Steady. What caught a lot of people's attention was the mystery surrounding it, as the only proof of it existing being various listings on billboards bubbling under the Hot 100 chart in 1979. It first landed at number 106, then climbed higher to 103, and then peaked at 102. It was seemingly only on these charts for 3 weeks, leaving many to doubt its existence. It was speculated that it could have been a misprint on the billboard's part, though this didn't stop a search. Decades before the Lost Media community ever got involved, music historian Joel Whitburn began a search. Joel wanted to find the song to complete his collection of 45s for every song to hit the charts. Ready and Steady was the only one he was missing. He began a search in 1995, with his first lead being the name of the artist. Joel found a Chicago-based punk band called DA, who made music when Ready and Steady would have been released, though the band eventually confirmed this was not them. Plus, to those who noticed, the names are spelled differently. The biggest lead was a record label listed, Rascal. Joel found an ad to defend a Detroit-based punk rock magazine for this label. Listed was an address, which a friend of Joel's checked out. However, this led to a boarded up, vacant residential home in the city. This search soon seemed hopeless, with Joel Whitburn doubting it existed now. Though if it did exist, then it'd be worth around $150. Once the internet began looking into things, an interesting discovery was made. The United States Copyright Office had a song of the same name in its database. It was registered on September 16, 1986, with it being created in 1979. This matched up perfectly, so the two names listed in the authorship credit were looked into. The names were Jim Franks and Dennis Arma Lucchesi. The latter was a California-based mortgage broker and amateur musician who performed locally as DA and the Dukes. DA is his nickname, though sadly he passed away in 2005, so he couldn't be contacted. More research was done into the copyright registry in 2016, with Paul Haney, on the behalf of Joel, contacting Jim Franks. Jim willingly gave Paul a copy of the song, with it being played on a Minneapolis radio show on the channel KFAI called Crap from the Past. During this broadcast, Paul came on to briefly explain what Jim had told him. DA was told by an unidentified record producer, who represented a major label, that he could put one of their songs on the charts to make them famous. This was listed on the Bubbling Under the Hot 100 chart to not draw suspicions, as it was more plausible for an unknown band to appear on there. This song, along with other tracks they made, were never actually released, making it the only song to ever appear on a Billboard listing without actually being commercially released. The record label listed, Rascal, technically didn't exist at the time. It technically did exist during the 80s, which is why it appeared in that magazine. The label was apparently owned by a relative of someone in the band, being named after someone's dog. I recommend you listen to that Crap from the Past broadcast if you're more interested in this topic. Ready and Steady is actually a great song, so it being found despite never being released is a great surprise.
Oops, that's how it ends. That's great.
For a song that supposedly never existed, that sounds pretty good.
That genuinely exists, but it was never pressed to vinyl, and that's the first time probably it's ever been played on the radio since it was recorded 37 years ago in 1979. Ready and Steady by DA. And thanks to Paul Haney, who's right here, able to give you a world premiere of that song, which bubbled under the Hot 100 in June 1979 and has been as yet unconfirmed as to its existence for 37 years, up until about a month ago.
Yep, and now that Wikipedia page is going to have to totally be redone.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Crap from the Past gets mentioned on the Wikipedia page.
I've always had a really great relationship with the Orange County Fair. Steve Beasley, the CEO, always wanted to do a big project with me, and then when the idea of Al's Brain came up, it just seemed like a perfect match, and we decided to go for it.
Al's Brain. Weird Al is no stranger to Lost Media, as I discussed him before in my Lost Music Videos list, though here I'll be mentioning a short film he made back in 2009. The 10-minute short was made as a 3D educational film about the human brain, with Al directing, writing, and starring in it. It had a budget of $2.5 million, containing live action and animated portions. It was presented at the 2009 Orange County Fair in California on July 16th to August 5th, 2009, though this poster displays slightly different dates. Guests would enter the Brainatorium, which in reality was a decorated hangar building. Here, guests would be given 3D glasses, as they waited in an elaborate waiting room filled with optical illusions, brain teasers, and fun facts about the brain. There was another short film playing in this room, which served as a parody of 1950s educational films. The main film was widely popular with audiences, as over 250,000 people would see it during its 21-day run. It would later be shown as the 2009 Puyallup Fair in Puyallup, Washington, from September 11th to the 27th. There were apparently plans to present it at Expo 2010 in Shanghai, China, though it's not confirmed if this ever happened. Once these screenings ended, the film fell into obscurity. The only known information about it came from various websites, a few behind-the-scenes videos, and this video recorded by Jesus and Friends 27 back in 2009. In 2017, Weird Al released a compilation album called Medium Rarities, which featured the short film's featured song, The Brain Song. This, along with the behind-the-scenes videos resurfacing, led to the search officially beginning. The full music video for the song would be found, followed by a bootleg recording by Reddit user Minic27. He uploaded it to Google Drive on November 13, 2020, though soon took it down, not wanting to ruffle any feathers. It seems like no copies were archived until over 3 years later when one came up. On February 20, 2024, Lost Media Wiki user Ziki Kashmir uploaded a full recording of this bootleg, which was saved by Christopher T. 2004. Then, only 9 days later, a high-quality rip of the film in 4K quality was found. It was uploaded by YouTube user Bryce Buchanan, though it was quickly deleted. Then, various re-uploads were deleted in the following days. This was due to copyright takedowns, as the film does feature one of Al's copyrighted songs. The short, fully titled Al's Brain, A 3D Journey Through the Human Brain, is currently on archive.org. I'm actually surprised by the cast here. I mean, you have Al himself, Billy West playing Norm the Owl and Billy the Brain, and cameos from Fabio, Paul McCartney, Thomas Lennon, Patton Oswalt, Tim Heidecker, and Eric Warheim. Apparently Coolio, who Al parodied in his 1996 song Amish Paradise, was asked to appear in this film. He sadly declined, though definitely would have been interesting to see. If you want to watch the full thing, again, it's on archive.org. It's actually decent and has a few good jokes here and there. Basically, Al is asked questions through Men on the Street style interviews, and uses it to teach people about the brain.
I was wondering if you believe that subliminal messages really work on the brain.
That's a very controversial question. There's been a lot of research over the years trying to figure out if that subliminal advertising stuff is really effective.
LEGO Ninjago Spinjitzu Scavenger Hunt. Lost phone apps are actually pretty common, as they are low-effort content mainly targeted at children. Though I do think there are interesting lost apps, as seen in the video I made back in 2021. In another video I made that year, I discussed an app called LEGO Ninjago Spinjitzu Scavenger Hunt, a game that got released sometime in early 2011. It coincided with the release of the original line of Ninjago sets, a popular LEGO theme still successful to this day. Some of the early Ninjago sets were focused on the Spinjitzu spinners, which were tops that you would customize and place minifigures onto. These were marketed as games you could play with other people to see which minifigure can get knocked off first. This concept would be used in the Spinjitzu Scavenger Hunt game, though here you'd use the gyroscope feature found on iOS phones. Here you'd battle enemies by increasing your speed and hitting into them to do damage. There was a story mode that had players complete various quests to unlock new areas and characters, with the first character you get introduced to being Sensei Wu, who acts as the guide. Strangely, some of these quests would have you scan various objects from the actual Ninjago sets, though in later versions of the game you'd be able to skip these quests. Another game mode was called the Battle Arena, where you could select your character and choose 3 other characters to fight. This would get you access to coins, this game's in-app currency that allows you to unlock more gear, locations, and characters. What many don't know is that there's actually a sequel to this game released a year later titled LEGO Ninjago Rise of the Snakes. Both would fall into obscurity and become lost in the coming years, since Ninjago as a brand was rapidly changing. The only proof of these games existing were some screenshots and a video made by the channel iGamesView back in 2012. I ended up mentioning the first game in the aforementioned LEGO Lost Media video, which I remade last month. I didn't cover this topic in it, as it actually got found in August 2021. Yes, only a few months after I talked about it. Several months later in November, the sequel got uploaded there too by the same uploader. The Thick of It pilot. The Thick of It is a comedy drama series produced by the BBC, with 4 seasons airing from 2005 to 2012. It aims to satirize the inner workings of the British government by focusing on a fictitious division of the government known as the Department of Social Affairs and Citizenship, or DOSAC. The series received wide critical acclaim, leading to someone at ABC wanting to make an American version of the show. It was greenlit by 2006, with BBC Worldwide and Sony Pictures collaborating to produce a pilot. It actually shared the same executive producer of the original series, Armando Iannucci, alongside Mitch Hurwitz and Richard Day, the creator and a writer for Arrested Development. Since this show would be set in America, elements of the show were rewritten to focus on the US government. The remake would have centered on an out-of-touch congressman, whose approach to politics would always get him in trouble. He'd be played by John Michael Higgins, alongside other actors like Oliver Platt, Alex Borstein, Michael McCain, and Rhea Seehorn. And yes, 2 of the cast members are on Better Call Saul. Despite the potential, the pilot never led to a full-fledged series. Producer Jeremy Whitham would give his side of events, claiming on his website that the pilot was rushed into production before the script was finished due to looming deadlines. Because of this, ABC passed it up in favor of a sitcom based on those Geico caveman commercials. And if you know anything about that show, you can tell how awful of a decision that was. Even worse, ABC passed on 2 other shows, Football Wives and Life on Mars. God, they really suck at this, don't they? Though Armando Iannucci didn't give up, eventually pitching a similar concept to HBO. This became the critically acclaimed series Veep, which ran from 2012 to 2019. 4 years afterwards, the pilot went unreleased. Armando has been pretty public about his disappointment in the episode, stating, "When we were doing the pilot of The Thick of It at ABC, there were just scores of people working on it, all called vice president, this and that, and a lot of them were buffoons." A 2013 article from What Culture would bring attention to the pilot, and eventually the full pilots for the other 2 shelved shows would re-emerge. Then, over a decade later, on November 18th, 2023, the YouTube channel Media Garage would post a pilot in full. Now this guy has posted quite a few pilots onto their channel. I emailed them over a month ago to get their story, but as of recording this, they haven't reached out. I assume they got this from the studio themselves or found it in some sort of demo reel.
Hello, would you like to go on a date with me? Hey, I was just wondering if you... Okay, that's a dick. Okay, stop.
Katonda Alinawe by David SonJC. I've talked a lot about Filthy Frank related media this year, and one topic I briefly mentioned was a mysterious song you featured in the video, How to Pick Up Girls in 30 Different Cultures, which was originally uploaded on January 14th, 2013, though this video would later be deleted by YouTube. However, it's easy to find in re-uploads. In this video, Frank, who you'll know as Joji, pokes fun at cultural stereotypes. In one short 3-second segment, he dances along to an African-sounding song to represent someone from Kenya. In the comments to this video, many fans asked what the song's name was, so Joji added an annotation. If you don't remember, you used to be able to add text over videos up until YouTube took away this feature in 2019. The annotation reads, "Don't know the name, stop asking." This implies he found the song randomly somewhere. Though, how? We wouldn't get any other answers out of him, and he'd fully rebrand to Joji in 2017. On December 21st, 2015, a video was uploaded to the channel TM2 called New African Cristiano Ronaldo Amazing Long Shot HD. It's a bizarre shitpost where the same short snippet of the song plays. It was quickly pointed out that this was ripped right from the Filthy Frank video, though the uploader joked about getting the song off the dark web for £10. By this point, it was deduced that the song was not Kenyan, but in fact Ugandan. The lyrics translate to, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given," which is actually a Bible verse, Isaiah 9:6. The search continued into 2021, with Lost Media Wiki user Saturnius stating that the song was on YouTube for a time, being one of the top results for Ugandan song. However, it must have been taken down due to copyright detection shortly after Frank's video went up. Fans went digging and found an old photo Frank posted to Instagram on November 5th, 2013, though it's one of 20 photos he posted when he first made an Instagram account, so it was probably taken before. It shows various vinyl records of African music, making many think he got the song from here, though this lead was never explored. In my Filthy Frank documentary, I brought up a YouTuber named NB Duckman, who made loads of videos documenting his history. On December 2nd, 2023, he uploaded a video titled The Search for the Filthy Frank Kenya Song, which recaps everything we've covered so far, though he does mention another lead, Joji's producers. Duckman speculates that Joji himself did not edit the video, but instead one of his producers. While his later videos did have teams of people work on them, I don't think he did that back in 2013. His videos back then did have a much lower production value. Duckman still reached out to Joji's known producers, but none responded back, so he thought up a way to motivate people to find the song, a bounty. At the end of the video, he placed a $300 bounty on anyone who could name the song. This bounty would be claimed a day later by Discord user Damn Peggy, who gave an explanation on how they found the song. They posted to Duckman's Discord chat with, "Found it. Have the YouTube link. 33 seconds. I'm literally shaking." Here they link to a video titled Katonda Alinawe, Ugandan Gospel Music 2011 Africa, which was uploaded on May 29, 2011. He was able to find this by using a before search modifier to look at uploads made before 2013. Others had used this method to no luck, but Dan Peggy found a similar sounding song that was described as East Ugandan, so he searched for East Ugandan songs before 2013, and found it pretty easily. It's a song called Katonda Alinawe by David SonJC, a Ugandan gospel singer. He'd eventually post a higher quality version of the song in 2018 to the website MP3 Jaja. I highly recommend you check it out if interested. It's pretty catchy. Force Ape. This unreleased game was first teased in an August 1991 issue of Nintendo Power magazine. Its release was seemingly just around the corner, with the description reading as follows. Besides having one of the coolest names to come along in a while, Force Ape from the Seta has the fastest action ever seen on the NES. You take control of Force Ape, a genetically altered super chimpanzee, as he tries to make his way through a high-tech maze to rescue his adopted human daughter. Play control on the character is good, but one of the best parts of the game is when Force Ape takes a wild out-of-control ride on one of the speeding platforms or coal cars. Hold on tight. Animation is humorous, especially when your ape takes a long fall and flails his arms helplessly. But don't worry, Force Ape is practically indestructible. Force Ape also has some great pro wrestling style moves to use against his bizarre opponents. While the story elements weren't complete in the early version we previewed, the action ingredients present were very promising. We'll let you know more about Force Ape as work on the game progresses. While the game sounded promising, it was announced in a later issue 8 months later that it got cancelled. Over a decade later, various NES fan sites began talking about the game. They sought out to find it, but had no leads until 2005. One user on digitpress.com named PaulB812 posted this. Hi, I found this at a yard sale while visiting relatives in Carson, California. The plain label caught my eye and a pile of Nintendo cartridges. For $3 I thought, why not? After doing some searching online, I am right to assume this game has not been released. Here are pictures. A few users congratulated him on this find, so Paul began posting more information. The ape character is very animated. Like when you're ready to grab an enemy, his chest shifts up and twists his arms and head forward, and he flops like a bird when he falls from more than a screen. You can punch, but it's better to grab the enemies and slam or throw them into the ground or walls with the cross pad. There isn't a damage meter, but you can take a lot of hits before you die and flicker when you're about to. Hey guys, I played a little more of the game today and discovered a new move. You hold the punch button, hold down, and release as the ape unleashes a super move. It's so powerful that it messes up the game's graphics. The thread soon turned against Paul, as he was not willing to distribute the game online and distribute a playable ROM. Paul wanted to sell the game, instead of reducing its value by making it free for all. He then posted these screenshots showing an alleged monster from Force Ape made out of butter. This aspect was definitely fabricated by Paul, with the text reading, "Ja, I am made of der butter, and you are worth 2k monies. Eat communism." These other screenshots he posted were put into question, including the one showing Force Ape shooting himself and breaking the game. The off-topic discussion in the forum began pissing Paul off even more, so he posted this. Having seen the anger that revealing this game's existence has caused, I have decided to destroy the cartridge. It is too powerful like that ring some midgets had to throw in a volcano. Please everyone calm down now. It was just a game. Someone replied with, "Quick, delete your post now. You may be the cause of a million fatties crying out in pain." Then suddenly silenced, for pulmonary reasons, a la the denizens of Alderaan. Couldn't you at least throw it into a vat of liquid hot, bubbling butter? For the next 5 years, the game remained lost, though its notoriety increased. The post on that thread became a meme in the NES community, which created further interest. On April 1st, 2010, a listing on Yahoo Japan caught the interest of Paul. The auction contained a prototype of Force Ape, which the seller wasn't fully aware of. Despite not knowing its worth, the seller started the bid at a pretty high price. Paul contacted Frank Cifaldi, the owner of the site Lost Levels. They had an emergency meeting containing site staff, where they agreed to buy the game. They collected donations from friends and forum members. In the end, they got it for the price of 250,000 yen, or $2,700. Many in the community were a bit skeptical of this, thinking it was just another trolling effort. I mean, this did happen around April Fools. They were seemingly proven right when the cartridge arrived broken. All hope seemed lost, until it was revealed that this was just a hoax. The game would be dumped online shortly after, which is still readily available to play. Wanted Suspects. This was an alleged commercial that aired sometime around February 1970 as part of Wanted Suspects Investigation Month. This was an effort by the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department for civilians to help identify wanted fugitives. It allegedly aired on 5 different television stations, though it's unknown what specific time frame it broadcasted. The topic was pretty obscure until April 27, 2002, when an anonymous poster of 2chan mentioned it in a thread. Here they described what happened in the commercial. It begins with the sound of a phone ringing, before we hear a voice say, "This is call 110. Then, a narrator begins reading off names and information of various criminals. It ends with the narrator saying, "This is a request from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department." Another user gave their description, clarifying details. They said the narrator was a male's voice. The sounds at the beginning were police sirens, and it ends with the narration, "This is a request from the police. This criminal is currently on the run. If you recognize this face, call 110. The ad would show the face of the criminals in front of a blue background, with their name, description, and listed crime being read out. In 2008, another user claimed that the commercial ended with, "Contact the nearest police box at the Metropolitan Police Department." With these testimonies, a recreation video was made. It was soon found out that the magazine, called Half Serious, had compiled transcripts of TV commercials, once in 1975 and again in 1979. In the former, it had the transcript of the wanted suspect's ad. Request from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. 36 years old, suspect in murder by dagger, 5'5", red hair. If you see this face, call 110. This is a notice from the Prime Minister's office. February is National Wanted Suspects Investigation Enhancement Month nationwide. There are currently approximately 7,100 suspects wanted by the police in all prefectures in Japan. These suspects have committed a variety of crimes, including murder, robbery, and other heinous crimes, as well as assault, injury, extortion, or theft, and their whereabouts are being sought by the police, and they are at the risk of repeating their crimes in the future. This poses a serious threat to your peaceful life. For this reason, we have designated February of every year as National Wanted Suspects Investigation Enhancement Month, during which we list and focus on heinous suspects. During last February's Investigation Enhancement Month, the National Police Agency designated 9 prior suspects, and 1,306 important suspects are designated by prefecture governments. We were able to achieve the results you see during this month of intensified investigations alone. The police have posted the wanted list on bulletin boards at police stations and police boxes, as well as on trains, where they can be easily seen, as we ask for your cooperation. If you recognize any of the photos on the wanted list or know anything about the suspects, even if it is a small matter, please let the police know. This was a notice from the Prime Minister's office. The only hope of finding this ad, though, is if it got recorded back when it aired. It was possible, as the commercial probably aired in the early 80s, when VHS tapes were widely available. On October 26, 2023, YouTube user 1977pop uploaded an old recording of the show, Ginza Now. The full video was taken down about a week ago, but you can find the commercial itself now.
警察庁からのお願いです。梅内恒夫、24歳、爆発物取締罰則違反の容疑者、身長176センチ。
SCP-173 4chan post. The late 2000s saw the rise of many iconic creepypastas that many still fondly remember today. You had Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, Ben Drowned, Squidward Suicide, Username 666, The Russian Sleep Experiment, Smile Dog, and more. One of the biggest was SCP, which was made up of multiple stories and one collective narrative. The name stands for Secure, Contain, and Protect, as the stories follow an organization that attempts to capture unexplained paranormal phenomena. This all spun off from SCP-173, a story that was originally posted to the X Paranormal board on 4chan. On June 22, 2007, user the USS Walrus would write the following. Item number SCP-173, Special Containment Procedures. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. One personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at a time, and the door is to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must be looking at SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: Moved to Site 1993. Little is known about item number SCP-173's origins. It is constructed from concrete and rebar, and was once painted with Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and malevolent. If given the chance, it will kill anyone within its line of sight. Its weakness, however, is that it does not move while being watched. Despite this paralysis, it is still highly dangerous, able to cover at least 2 meters in a literal blink of an eye. It typically kills by either snapping the victim's neck from behind, or grabbing the victim's throat and strangling him. Whatever animates SCP-173 does not give it much force with which to break things. As seen above, a large room with unbarred windows is fully capable of containing it. Its grip, however, is unbreakable, as when it is not moving, the statue is as hard and strong as concrete. While left alone in its room, one can hear a stone-on-stone scraping from within that is believed to be the sound of the SCP-173 moving about. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. We don't know, nor wish to find out, where it comes from or how it arrives, but SCP-173's container will slowly fill with these substances. In order to ensure that bacterial growth within does not begin to damage the building it is contained in, and to maintain some levels of sanitation, the enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. Attached was this image. This is an art piece called Untitled 2004, created by Japanese artist Uzuma Kato. When SCP became more popular in 2014, he became aware of it and reluctantly allowed the group to use his image, as long as he was credited and it wasn't used for commercial purposes. Though in 2022, the image would be removed from the SCP Wiki in order to comply with the Creative Commons license. If the story sounds familiar, that's because it's based on a very popular episode of the BBC series Doctor Who. In the episode titled Blink, it introduces the Weeping Angels, beings who only move when you look away from them. The episode aired on June 9th, 2007, with the 4chan post only being made 13 days later. Both remind me of this short film I really like called Still Life, which was released a year prior. It's a really interesting concept that eventually spun off into something bigger. While the image and the text on the post were saved, the original thread with all the comments were not. 4chan doesn't archive threads, so the only way to save them is through an external archive. The original poster would come forward about a year later, posting, "Hello, my name is Moda42, aka the USS Walrus. I am the original author of SCP-173. When I posted it to 4chan's X board, I had not expected it to be remembered by anyone more than a week later, but had intended to make similar documents on about a weekly basis. Then I lost internet access for a week and a half and other interests pushed the project out of mind. Then I found this place. I'm really impressed with how you have all taken the original and run with it like this. A lot of these are very original and entertaining, the coffee machine being my favorite so far. I just wanted to say hi and introduce myself now that I found this site." Over the course of a decade, fans of SCP began scouting the internet Wayback Machine to find the original page, with no luck. Then came Jason Scott, who, on October 8th, 2018, posted this to the Internet Archive. This is a text-only compilation of 4chan threads, primarily from the years 2006 to 2008. The total unique threads in this collection is roughly 10 million. They have been contributed from an anonymous donor and are duplicated in 3 different formats: HTML, XML, and MySQL. Within this gargantuan amount of 4chan posts lies the infamous SCP-173 thread, finally ending the search. It was found by user DasMeme and posted to the SCP subreddit on the same day.
And here's the naughtiest host of them all, Doug Mulray.
Australia's Naughtiest Home Videos. November 26, 1989 saw the premiere of America's Funniest Home Videos, a compilation series showcasing various lighthearted videos from viewers. Its success in the 90s led to many different clones, including an obscure one called Australia's Naughtiest Home Videos. It spun off from Australia's Funniest Home Videos, with it being composed of more vile and risque content that got rejected from the series. It aired only once on Channel 9 on September 3, 1992, with the intro stating, "Warning, this is an adult-only program, not Australia's Funniest Home Video show. Certain scenes and language may offend some viewers." We get introduced to our host, Doug Mulray, who opens up with some pretty edgy jokes for the time.
Thank you and welcome to the most sensational collection of home videos since Rodney King nicked out one night for a pizza recently. This is a special presentation from the people who bring you Australia's funniest home videos. As you've just heard, we've fattened up the theme a little.
If you don't know, Rodney King was a victim of police brutality in March 1991. His assault would instigate the infamous Los Angeles riots not too long after. Anyways, Doug spends the rest of the special narrating over some pretty interesting videos. Both the narration and the clips themselves are pretty cringy, especially in retrospect. Videos include animals having sex, a man curling a bar with his cock, men sticking toilet paper up their asses and lighting it on fire, various wardrobe malfunctions, 2 people having sex in a public park, and more. It's pretty crass now, but at the time it was pretty unique and enticing to see. I think Rebel Taxi put it best.
Sure, it's an awful show, but when you consider in 1992 when this aired, nobody ever seen anything like this. The internet? That did not exist. You kids now can go online, see a video of a girl shitting into another girl's mouth and vomiting into the first girl's mouth as they make out, or marathon animals having sex for hours and hours in the privacy of your basement. But back then, you had to get dressed, put your pants on, and drive out to the zoo to see that kind of thing and share that moment with all the other freaks there.
Because of the risque content featured within, the show aired at 8:30 p.m., though only a fraction of it aired, as the at-the-time owner of Channel 9 became aware of it halfway through. Kerry Packer was at dinner at the time, and was informed about the special airing on his channel. He began watching it, and immediately got offended due to its content, so he called the studio operators and screamed, "Get that shit off the air." They did what he asked, and it was pulled 34 minutes into the broadcast. The screen displayed a message from Channel 9 saying, "We apologize for this interruption. Unfortunately, a technical problem prevents us continuing our scheduled program for the moment. In the meantime, we bring you a brief, alternative program." The remaining time slot played an episode of Cheers. Several viewers complained about the abrupt cancellation, and it actually got high ratings. Despite the outcry, it would seemingly remain lost for years to come. The next day, Packer would have an emergency meeting with staff, where he berated managers and fired many involved in Australia's Naughtiest home videos. Doug Murray's punishment would be harsher, as he was banned from Channel 9 for life. Channel 9's drama and entertainment chief, Chris Noble, would hide the tape in order to preserve the full show. Kerry would pass away in 2005, so a few years later, Channel 9 decided to bring back the special. On August 28, 2008, 1 week earlier the show's 16th year anniversary, it would be rebroadcasted. It was advertised as the show Kerry Packer didn't want you to see. Doug declined to get involved, so this version instead features commentary from Bert Newton. As a homage to the original cancellation, a new interruption was added 34 minutes in. It then played the intro to Cheers before Newton came back and gave the following monologue.
Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Well, suddenly everybody knew Doug Mulray's name. Anyone still watching back in 1992 who wasn't scandalised by the smut was expecting more of the same. Instead, they got that announcement of technical difficulties which you heard, which was true. It's technically very difficult to keep a show on air with Mr. Packer on the phone yelling at you. So from this point on, the show's a premiere presentation. Not exactly brand new, but never before seen on TV. Now, where were we?
However, parts of the original special were cut, including a bit where a man's Indian accent was mocked, and a fat joke made towards a kid, though you can find both versions readily available in the Internet Archive. Sadly, about a year ago on March 30th, 2023, Doug Murray passed away at the age of 71. Suncoast Digest. This news show, which aired on WXLT TV Channel 40, had a short run from 1973 to 1974, and this wasn't just due to low ratings, it was due to a tragic event that occurred live on air. If this woman seems familiar to you, that's because she's Christine Chubbuck, Suncoast Digest's primary host. To give a bit more background on the show, it aired in South Central Florida and reported on various local news stories. It aired on Mondays to Fridays at 9 a.m., with Christine being picked as the host due to her well-established experience in the television industry. She was fully enthralled in the project, with her shining a special spotlight on the less fortunate in her community and the problems they faced. At first, her talents were recognized, with her even winning a Forestry and Conservation Recognition Award. However, this couldn't keep the show's ratings up, which began affecting Christine. Her outlook on life began to change, and she fell into depression. In one episode, she interviewed a deputy sheriff about the use of handguns, specifically how to kill yourself with one. The sheriff later recalled the episode, saying he gave her way too many details about the process. That's because on July 15, 1974, Christine would do the unthinkable on air. At first she was seen as unusually cheerful, though returned to her usual tone during the episode. She began reading out news stories before the reel jammed. She then nonchalantly faced the camera and said, "In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first. In living color, exclusive coverage of an attempted suicide." At that very moment, she drew a revolver from her bag, placed it behind her right ear, and fired. She was taken to the hospital and died that same day. Her suicide note was found, alongside a follow-up news story which accurately predicted the aftermath of the situation. Christine was only 29 years old. This on-air suicide became the focus of many lost media searches, as many's morbid curiosity made them want to find it. I won't go too into detail with this search, as it's not the main focus here. There are loads of other videos covering the specific topic if you want to learn more. But basically, the tape of this incident is believed to be in possession of Christine's family and will never be released. There have been other rumored copies floating around, with what seems to be the actual audio leaking in early 2021. The original upload was taken down, but re-uploads exist. I won't link it here, but I'm sure you can find it easily. I'll play part of it before you know what happens.
News Watch tonight at 5:30, and we'll have that story for you then. As of this morning, Grace Foster, who was shot in that incident, is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first.
What I really want to talk about is a search for other episodes of Suncoast Digest. Before this year, the only footage we had was from a short snippet from a 40th anniversary video. Sadly, there's no audio. It's said that the full 21-minute tape is in the possession of weatherman Steve Newman, but he has no plans on releasing it. Tape Signal, a prominent Christine Chubbuck researcher, got in contact with John Griffin, the creator of an E! Network documentary about Christine. This man revealed he had a full episode of the show, with Tape Signal revealing this to the wider public on February 29, 2024. About 2 months later, on April 23rd, Griffin would send the full episode to Tape Signal, with it then being promptly uploaded to YouTube. The episode itself revolves around zoning issues surrounding local hospitals. It mainly consists of an extended interview Christine had with others regarding the issue. Now, there are still loads of episodes to be found, but it's unknown if they can even be accessed. Many who knew Christine fear that searchers are only interested in her because of the tragedy, which, while partially true, it seems many are legitimately interested in Christine as a person, based on the comments I've seen. Many of these searchers are trying to keep Christine's legacy alive.
Thank you all for being here, and thanks for discussing this with me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good day.